As we already discussed about the different phases of the freedom movement and how Gandhiji intervened into the Indian politics, after he had studied the various ground realities, he went on to various corners of India to understand the situations. Later, he got the idea about the mass struggles. He initiated the process of non-cooperation movement. So during the non-cooperation movement, he decided to do what is necessary, and he wanted to unite Hindus as well as the Muslims with the non-cooperation movement getting interconnected with the Khilafat movement. So now what happened after that? The non-cooperation movement was misunderstood by different people at different corners. We have seen how the people have reacted for this one in the southern region, where Sita Ramaraju in the Gudem hills of Andhra has brought militant agitation, but he was inspired by Gandhiji's non-cooperation movement. And in the Assam region in the northeast, people decided that British Raj has gone away, Gandhi Raj is going to come. So that also moved into a violent action. So when it moved on completely into violent action, Gandhiji was completely upset with the attitude of the people. The actual strength of Gandhiji is Satyagraha with a non-violent method. But here people restored themselves to violent methods and attitudes. So with the uprising of the non-cooperation movement to a very large extent, but it was not successful according to Mahatma Gandhiji. So Gandhiji in February 1922 decided to withdraw non-cooperation movement. His idea is to withdraw the non-cooperation movement because as he appealed to all people in all ways that we should be peaceful and we should do the agitation in a peaceful manner. We are not supposed to break any of the laws. This is in context with the non-cooperation movement. But as the time passed on, Gandhiji was unable to control the movements of the people, and those people are also taking the name of Gandhiji and restoring to violence. This is what something which upset Gandhiji seriously. But as the time passed on, he could not do anything. On February 1922, Gandhiji decided to shut or stop the non-cooperation movement. So now the people who already participated in the movement were, let us take the peasants, let us take the mill workers, industrial workers, or various people who willingly participated in this one, are expecting some kind of assurance from the government that they would not be troubled by the government. But with the abrupt suspension of the momentum, the people were confused. The leadership could not give any promise for the people. At the same time, people are also don't know what are the reasons why the movement has been suspended. So this kind of confusion was already moved into the people as soon as the momentum was stopped. But during this time only, according to the act which was passed by the Government of India Act of 1919, the people also want to participate in the elections, to have a proper election system, and so that we can have our representatives in the councils. When these provincial councils will discuss about the policy matters, they can put our words there. That's how the people thought during that time, and some of the leaders want to participate in the elections, though some of the major leaders argued that it was completely non-democratic and the voting is being given only for 1% of the people. So this 1% of the people are very minute sections of the Indian community. So actually it is only for namesake elections. The real powers are vested with the Britishers only. So this is how people call this one as a non-democratic or undemocratic system of elections. Whatever it is, the Indians have decided, some of the leaders, to go into the provincial assemblies, to raise our voices in the assemblies so that it can be heard to the higher authorities, rather than being outside of the assemblies and shouting, let us be part of the councils and try to stop something. That's how they have planned initially. This went on like this way. And when we move on to the other side, we have C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru, who have initiated the Swaraj party. So these people want to participate in the elections, while the other group, Jawaharlal Nehru and Bose, are radical and they want to go for mass agitations. And this has been a serious topic of discussions in the Indian politics during that time. Congress has suspended the non-cooperation movement under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhiji. Motilal Nehru, the father of Jawaharlal Nehru, and C.R. Das have independently established a Swaraj party where they want to contest in the provincial elections or the council elections, where some of the people have seriously argued that these are the non-democratic elections, so Congress was not interested to participate in this. And in the Congress also we have a split, that is Jawaharlal Nehru and Bose taking the side to be a radical and a serious mass agitation, not believing in the peaceful methodology, but we need to have huge number of people participating in the elections, and not only in the elections, to trouble the government, to force the government to make them to be independent. This is what the ideology, what they believed. And other than these two factors, the other factors which influenced the Indian politics during that time were the World War I, the effect or the impact of World War I. World War I was the first major man-made disaster which the human mankind has experienced. It has been fought for nearly 4 years, from 1914 to 1918. During these 4 years, except a few islands in Pacific Ocean and in South America, remaining all countries in the world are being affected seriously by this war. So the influence made Indians, being a British India country where we are forced to send our people to the war, there were forced recruitments for the world war, and also the agriculture has come down, the fields are being destroyed, continuous droughts, famines, people have lost their lives, many people were upset with the agricultural pattern. So all these things made the people to have poverty, and this also affected the Indian economic system as well as the political system. During this time only, the effect of World War I was initially subsided or surfaced by the efforts made by the Britishers, and later on it became to be a global economic depression, which impact became very large in India. In India, north and south, east and west, everywhere we had the lack of rainfall, the severe famines, droughts, heavy taxation, and all these made the people to get scared of living, and these people are struggling to get certain alternative for this one. This is how the people started to motivate themselves to fight against the Britishers, and during that time only we have the leaders taking up the charges at different levels and different parties. During this growing anger of the people, the Britishers were able to estimate the anger of the people, and they decided to send a solution for this one by sending Sir John Simon. Sir John Simon, a commission was headed by him. He came to India. He initially started in 1927 in England, but during those times they have to travel by ships, so it took nearly more than 2 months for them to come to India. So finally by the time they reached India, it became 1928. He started in 1927 December, so he reached in 1928 Jan. So by that time it is in 1928 in some of the books, it is mentioned as 1927. Both are right. Now when Simon Commission came, the Simon Commission has all the representatives who are the representatives of the British officials. There is no one who knows either Hindi, or there is no one who is having Indian origin. There is no one, an Indian representative there. So how can a Simon Commission be coming to India without having an Indian representative, and none of them knowing the Indian languages to understand the problems of the Indians, to communicate with the Indians, to facilitate the Indians to have a better nation or to merge towards the independent nation. So this seriously upset the people of India, Indian leaders and Indian masses. So altogether they came up in a big rallies when Simon came to India with the slogans called Simon Go Back. The Simon Go Back slogan was being given seriously at all places wherever the Simon Commission tried to visit them. So this is how people have started to show their anger towards the Britishers. Looking at the growing anger of the Britishers, Lord Irwin had made a vague promise. The promise is that he would give a dominion status to India in October 1929. So when I call it a vague is something like which may be real or may not be real, which may happen or may not happen, or we are not sure when it is going to happen. These kind of promises are called as vague promises. The dominion status has been assured, but when, nobody knows. So when they told that the dominion status has to be assured, Gandhiji was not satisfied with the promise which was made by Lord Irwin, because this kind of vague promises were always made to make their issues soften and to try to get the support of the Indian masses. But Gandhiji truly believed that we should want a consolidated and a concrete promise made by the Britishers with a fixed timeline. Otherwise, we cannot believe the Britishers. That is the reason why the first roundtable conferences were suspended by the Indian political leaders, especially headed by Gandhiji. So in 1929, Jawaharlal Nehru and the team decided to have Purna Swaraj at the Lahore session, and they declared that 26th Jan 1930 will be the date of Republic India, where all the Indians are going to dream that it is a natural inherent right of the Indians to be a part of free India but not a part of British India. So this is how the momentum started to take its own shape to emerging into Swatantra Bharat or free independent India. The sequence is a bit confusing, but we need to remember this one carefully. In February 1922, Gandhiji has understood how the non-cooperation movement went on out of the control of the leaders, because Gandhiji's main ideology was Satyagraha and Ahimsa, but these two were misunderstood by the people, and always whenever they do violence, whenever they attacked some people, they always used to take the name of Gandhiji and restore to do violence there. And that is the reason why which seriously upset Gandhiji, and that is why he decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement. When Gandhiji decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement with the failure of the ideology of understanding of Gandhiji's philosophy, many of the masses, peasants, workers, agricultural labor, all these people could not get any kind of fair promises either by the Congress party or by the British officials that they would not be collected any taxes from them, or they would not be asked to repay back any kind of loans which are being taken by them because of a failure of the agriculture or famines, droughts. But this is what something seriously upset the masses of the Indians. Gandhiji was upset with the behavior of the people, and people were upset because they were not sure why the movement has been suspended and what would be the consequences of this suspension of the movement. And during that time only, the elections has been initiated here with the law of Government of India Act 1919. Some of the leaders criticize this one as it is a non-democratic one, or it is completely not democratic at all, because the percentage of the people are given right to vote is very less, 1% of people. And C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru had established a Swaraj party where they want to participate in the council of elections and want to have their say when the policy making is going on, rather than after the policies are being made, then when we try to attack them. Because when we see the example of Rowlatt Act, the Rowlatt Act was passed. Though there was a serious opposition from the Indian Council of Members that Rowlatt Act should not be passed, but they have passed the act. So if we have more number of people in the council where we can oppose the laws that cannot be passed, that's why they want to increase strength in the council, so that it can assure them that any kind of anti-Indian people interest laws cannot be passed there. But Jawaharlal Nehru and Bose want to do a mass agitation, same like the non-cooperation movement, and make it a very large one, so that it may force the Britishers to leave India and understand that they cannot control further any more time to depend on the support of the Britishers. So we can fight against them. We can show that we can fight against them. That's what they were. The young and dynamic leaders, Jawaharlal Nehru and Bose, want to go for mass agitations. They are a radical group leaders. But as Gandhiji suspended the movement, Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das had a separate party, Jawaharlal Nehru going with the other inclinations. So this was a serious debate in the Indian politics during that time. So finally the deliberations were being made, a common conclusion was being brought out, and in 1920s The other side of the coin is that world was being witnessed the World War I and had many problems during that time, because the entire economy for 4 years has been drained in the war fields. There is no return from that fields, and the loss was in huge number. So in order to get back from that loss and to solve the depression, they were not able to understand what would be the possible solution for this one. And later on, this World War's economic drain has shown the entire world the greatest economic depression in the world in 1929. Because of this greatest economic depression in the world, even in India also, the agricultural production has come down, the cost of the production has come down, the exports have been come down, the cotton textile cost has been come down. So everything has been come down. Financially, the people have become weak. Indian financial system also has become weak. The amount of contribution towards the Britishers also has put down completely. And then Sir John Simon Commission was been established to look after or to take the opinions of the people of India. The interesting fact about this is that in the Sir John Commission team or Sir John Simon team, we don't have anyone from India. All are from the Britishers. None of them can understand Hindi. So that's what people were completely upset when they are coming to a Hindu land where none of them can understand the language of Hindi. How can they understand the problems of the native Indians, and how are they going to decide the future of the Indians? So they came up seriously with the slogans of Simon Go Back in 1928. Looking at this growing dissatisfaction and the moves of the people, Lord Irwin promised to give a dominion status, but the promise was completely a vague promise, because there was no certain timeline when can the promise be fulfilled. So Gandhiji was upset with the vague promises, and he wanted a concrete and a specific timeline based promise. And in 1929, Jawaharlal Nehru, under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, they came up with a pure and complete independent momentum with the name called Purna Swaraj. This was finalized at Lahore session on 26th of Jan 1930, which clearly showed the interest of the people that everybody wants India to fight for complete freedom, and we don't want any constitutional freedom or limited freedom aspects. We don't want any certain rights which are granted for the Indians. We want complete freedom. We want to rule ourselves by our own elected leaders, not by somebody who has been nominated by the Britishers.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.